You're welcome back. You're still listening to Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. My name is Sami Wiafia, and tonight I'm here with Akusia Otre. Now let's go to the Bank of Ghana now, because the bank issued a statement yesterday, and it says that it has recorded an operating loss of 9.49 billion in the year 2024, compared to an operating loss of 13.23 billion in the year 2023. However, the bank in the statement says this represents a net gain of 4 billion Ghana cedis compared to 2023 financials, which recorded a loss of 9.1 billion Ghana cedis. Let's speak to Professor Patrick Asuming. He's an economist, to explain to us some of these details the Bank of Ghana has released as far as its financial statement for the year 2024 is concerned. Prof, good evening. Thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, and good evening to listeners. Thanks for having me.
When the Bank of Ghana says it recorded an operating loss of 9.49 billion in 2024 compared to the same in the year 2023, which was 13.23, exactly what is the bank trying to say?
Well, it means that if you compare the revenues or the incomes it generated from its usual activities, the activities that they are mandated by law to perform. If you compare the incomes they generated from that and the expenses associated with performing those tasks, then obviously they incur more expenses than the income they generated, and that is what gives the operating loss.
In the same statement, the Bank of Ghana outlined, some of the key drivers resulting in this operating loss. For instance, it says that cost of open market operations will cost close to 8.60 billion. When they say operating cost or operating open market operations, exactly what that means?
You will notice that one of the core mandates of the Bank of Ghana is to help maintain price stability. And part of that is liquidity management. So when there's too much liquidity in the system, it has to conduct what we call the open market operations. This is where it's buying and selling bonds and bills. Some of them are Government of Ghana bonds. Some of them are bonds that it issues for the purposes of monetary management. So this open market operation is the process of buying and selling securities. All of that is to help to maintain the liquidity at desired level. So if there's too much liquidity in the system, they might decide to conduct an open market activity that will ensure that it's mopping up the excess liquidity. And then it can also do, if you want to pump liquidity, it might do the reverse. So that is what the open market operation is. That is an essential element of what central banks do to regulate the amount of money that is in the system. And that it comes with cost, because sometimes the cost comes from many sources. One of them is that if the interest rate movement, so at the time we are issuing the security, if the interest rate rises, it's likely that the value of the asset or the security issued will decline, and that will bring you a loss. But these are why the central bank is set up. So when there are losses because of open market operation, this is a central element of what they have to do. And in a period where interest rates are rising, you tend to see the value of those assets reduce, and therefore those losses are very likely. So the open market operation is a big part of what they do to ensure price stability.
Prof, the Gold for Oil program is also identified in this Bank of Ghana statement as one of the key drivers to the operating loss, because it says that the revaluation and exchange difference totaling 3.49 billion cedis, notably exchange losses of 1.82 billion on the Gold for Oil program. Is the bank then saying that Ghana incurred some losses because of the introduction of the Gold for Oil program?
Yes, of all the items that caused the losses, I think for me that was the one that was quite problematic, because participating in that Gold for Oil is not part of the bank's core mandate. And if you look at what it's supposed to do, price stability, monetary, ensuring financial sector stability, if you list all the core mandates that the central bank is supposed to do, it's difficult to classify its participation in the Gold for Oil program as part of that. And at the time that the Gold for Oil program was launched, you recall that many people, questioned the essence of the Gold for Oil because, it was kind of shrouded in a lot of secrecy and nobody clearly explained exactly how you can trade gold for oil without some losses being incurred. It was always going to happen that there will be losses because if people can sell their oil in the open market and you want them to buy the oil with a specified commodity that is not as liquid, then obviously somebody has to incur a loss. So even without this statement, many economists will know that somebody is taking a loss, except that we just didn't know. Now we know that Bank of Ghana is one of the institutions that took the loss. And I think for me, that is the one that was very problematic. And it's important to know that in the financial statement somewhere, it says that the board has approved that the bank withdraws from its participation in that program. And I think that's a good thing.
Prof, I'll say a big thank you for your time. Professor Patrick Asuming is an economist speaking to us on the Bank of Ghana statements on the financial year of the year 2024.